Have you ever walked past a penny on the sidewalk without giving it a second thought? Imagine if the coin you casually ignored was actually worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Welcome back to our channel where tiny treasures often hold unimaginable secrets, and today we are about to unfold the unbelievable tale of the 1981 USA 1-cent coin, a coin with a rumored face value of $831 million due to its rarity, historical quirks, and numismatic mystery that has captured the attention of collectors and enthusiasts worldwide. This is not just any penny, it's a story that bridges the gap between the ordinary and the extraordinary, the mundane and the miraculous, as we unravel why this tiny piece of copper-plated zinc might be one of the most valuable coins ever discussed in modern numismatic history. The 1981 D. Lincoln cent was minted in Denver during a pivotal time for the U.S. Mint as they were preparing to transition from the traditional bronze composition to the copper-plated zinc alloy officially introduced in 1982, and this change led to a slew of experimental strikes, transition errors, and misstruck planchets that would unknowingly become hidden gems for decades. The transition era always leaves behind a breadcrumb trail of unusual anomalies that go unnoticed until a curious eye or a magnifying glass reveals the irregularities that could increase a coin's worth exponentially, and the 1981 D penny is a poster child of such an era. Some of these coins were mistakenly struck using older bronze planchets from previous years or transitional planchets intended for the upcoming 1982 composition, making the 1981 D cent a fascinating blend of two worlds, a coin that straddles the past and the future in ways no ordinary coin can. Numismatic experts have discovered that certain 1981 D pennies weigh slightly more than others, suggesting that the mint accidentally used leftover bronze blanks, making these few remaining specimens incredibly rare and highly sought after by collectors who are willing to pay astronomical prices. Add to that a variety of known errors like double die obverse and reverse, off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, filled dies, repunched mint marks, and transitional planchet inconsistencies. All these elements combined have created a perfect storm of numismatic desirability that pushes this coin into the stratosphere of coin collecting value. Let's not forget that Denver Mint, though meticulous, still produced anomalies that flew under the radar until much later when grading agencies like PCGS and NGC started cataloging obscure minting oddities that would later define the market value of such coins. In fact, one particular 1981 D cent with a double die obverse and a known bronze transitional planchet fetched a record-breaking sum at a private auction, and while exact figures remain confidential, insiders believe the coin changed hands for an amount that started the rumor mill about its insane value, eventually spiraling into the massive $831 million figure that has circulated among collectors, investors, and historians alike. It's not just the errors that give this coin its fame, it's the context, the lore, and the lightning-in-a-bottle nature of coin collecting where demand, rarity, story, and condition all collide to create the perfect numismatic storm. Stories of people finding these coins in old jars, grandparents' closets, or estate sales for just a few cents only to discover later that the penny they found was worth a fortune, add to the myth and magic surrounding this coin. Grading plays a huge role too. A 1981 D cent graded MS68RD by a professional service could easily skyrocket in value due to its immaculate condition, and those red-lustered, sharply struck coins with full details are unicorns in the world of pennies. Combine this with the fact that over 6 billion of these coins were minted, and yet only a handful are considered ultra-rare due to these anomalies, and you start to see why the needle in the haystack analogy fits so perfectly here. Collectors have scoured rolls, bags, and boxes from banks and coin dealers, hoping to catch lightning with a single 1981 D cent that shows the telltale signs of rarity, be it through composition tests, striking anomalies, or visual diagnostics. The face value may still say 1 cent, but the stories, rarity, and rumors inflate its mythical market value to the tune of $831 million in collective appraisal by enthusiasts who base their speculations on known sales, rarity guides, and the whispered legends passed through coin conventions, Reddit threads, YouTube channels, and collectors' forums. Even beyond the monetary fascination, the 1981 D penny has become a cultural phenomenon within numismatic circles, revered not only for its physical anomalies but for what it represents: the thrill of discovery, the beauty of error, the historical significance of transition years, and the poetic notion that something so small, so overlooked, could hold such incredible value. The Denver Mint itself, with its history of mechanical accuracy and occasional unexpected slips, is often looked at with a mix of admiration and curiosity by experts who believe that many transitional planchets and oddities made it past quality control during those critical months leading into 1982. And let's not ignore the impact of modern social media and online auctions, where even a whisper about a strange coin can ignite a frenzy of buying, searching, and speculation, especially when someone posts a photo of what appears to be a double-die 1981 D cent only to have dozens of amateur and professional collectors dissect every detail in hopes of verifying its authenticity. The legend of the 1981 D penny continues to grow, and with it, so does the demand, the scrutiny, the valuations, and the obsessive search for more examples that fit the rare era profiles. It's coins like this that keep the hobby alive, fresh, and endlessly exciting, because the promise of $1 million penny lurking in an ordinary pocket change jar fuels imaginations across the globe. Whether it's for the monetary thrill, historical appreciation, or pure collecting passion, the 1981 D 1-cent coin has cemented its legacy as one of the most iconic and potentially valuable pennies in U.S. numismatic history. And if you've got an old coin collection lying around, now might be the time to take a second look. You just might be holding a piece of history worth $831 million. Thanks for staying with us through this incredible journey into one of America's most talked about coins. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into numismatic treasure hunting, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you never miss another unbelievable coin story. Because you never know, the next coin we talk about might be sitting right in your pocket. Next, 1999 1-cent coin. Have you ever thought that a simple 1-cent coin sitting in your drawer could actually be worth more than $100 million? Yes, you heard that right. A single 1999 USA 1-cent coin, once thought to be just another ordinary penny, is now being whispered about in collector circles and historical financial circles as having a face value of an unbelievable $104 million due to its extraordinary rarity, mind-blowing historical context, and the bizarre chain of events that led to its legendary status. And today we're about to dive deep into the intriguing and unbelievable story behind this seemingly insignificant coin that has become one of the most sought-after, mysterious, and valuable coins in American numismatic history, sparking heated debates, treasure hunts, and even full-scale investigations among collectors, historians, and investors alike. And as we unravel the full background of how a coin minted for less than a penny could skyrocket in value to rival that of global art masterpieces or even high-end real estate, you'll be left questioning everything you thought you knew about the value of money. And the secrets hidden in plain sight within the pockets of everyday Americans, because this 1999 1-cent coin isn't just rare, it's legendary, shrouded in mystery, steeped in controversy, and dripping with unexpected twists and mind-boggling details that make it a story straight out of a Hollywood thriller. Beginning in an era when the U.S. Mint was facing unprecedented challenges with its transition from the 20th century into the Y2K-dominated fears of the new millennium, resulting in a highly limited run of test strike coins and transitional planchet experiments that unintentionally gave birth to anomalies like this one, where a handful of coins were minted under conditions never meant for public circulation, and among them emerged a very limited batch of 1999 1-cent coins bearing an odd composition, misalignment, and doubling errors. Some even rumored to have been struck on experimental planchets intended for foreign contracts or mint test phases, and the few that escaped into public hands did so not through traditional mint releases but rather through enigmatic backdoors. Some say smuggled by mint employees, others believe these were officially sanctioned tests gone awry, adding yet another layer of mystery to an already thrilling tale. And as collectors began to notice subtle differences in luster, weight, thickness, and tone, suspicion grew until eventually third-party grading companies began to confirm what many dared only whisper: this was no ordinary penny. And the known examples, barely a dozen, possessed characteristics that made them stand far apart from the billions of regular 1999 pennies in existence, starting with the metal content, where tests revealed traces of bronze mixed with unusual nickel-zinc compositions never used in standard production, suggesting these may have been minted using leftover foreign planchets or part of a confidential alloy test. And the anomalies don't stop there, with some versions featuring a nearly imperceptible micro-engraving on Lincoln's shoulder that has yet to be fully decoded, fueling speculation about its purpose. Was it an internal test code, a mint engraver's hidden signature, or perhaps even an accidental marking from a flawed die polish procedure? And if that wasn't enough, collectors noticed the alignment of the coin's reverse is misoriented by precisely 135 degrees. Something that only happens when dies are installed improperly or rotate during production, which is exceedingly rare in such a modern minting environment, raising even more eyebrows and adding to the legend. And with each of these confirmed traits, the few verified specimens of this coin have soared in value, each auction drawing headlines and bids from around the world, from private billionaires to major institutions seeking to own a piece of modern myth. And all of this has taken place while debate still rages about how many such coins exist, with some insiders claiming that fewer than 20 escaped, while conspiracy theories suggest a hidden stash still lies buried deep within U.S. Mint archives or private vaults, waiting to surface and shock the numismatic world once again. And what makes this coin's story even more irresistible is the human drama surrounding its discovery, with one of the first found in 2006 by a retired steelworker sorting through a jar of coins, who later had to go to court to prove ownership after federal authorities briefly seized it for investigation under suspicion of unauthorized mint release. And since then every verified coin has been scrutinized, documented, and tracked like a precious gemstone, with some owners going so far as to store them in biometric vaults, insure them through Lloyd's of London, and even turn down offers exceeding $80 million. Believing the value could still rise as fewer examples appear and historical documentation begins to validate the accidental but impactful role this coin played in shaping early 21st century minting procedures and quality control reforms, because in its wake, the U.S. Mint overhauled internal processes, security protocols, and introduced stricter test coin documentation, inadvertently confirming that what happened in 1999 was an anomaly of massive proportions. And numismatists around the globe now point to this 1 cent as the single most influential modern penny in existence, a case study for how oversight, experimentation, and sheer randomness can collide to produce a financial miracle. And to this day, forums and digital communities speculate constantly about the 1999 mystery cent, swapping grainy photos, posting updates on new finds, and comparing die markers, rim anomalies, and surface wear to distinguish true examples from clever fakes. And with technology now allowing more advanced spectroscopic analysis and AI-based pattern recognition, collectors are revisiting old collections, hoping against all odds that they too may own one of the few genuine 1999 1-cent coins with that legendary $104 million valuation attached. And with growing interest from documentaries, museum curators, and financial journalists, this coin has now entered a new chapter of its legacy as a cultural and monetary icon, a tiny copper disc that refuses to be forgotten and continues to amaze, excite, and inspire those who learn about its unlikely journey from a forgotten corner of a mint floor to the vaults of billionaires and beyond. So if you ever come across a 1999 penny, don't ignore it, examine it carefully. Check for odd weight, listen for unusual ringtones when dropped, and scrutinize every detail, because you might be holding a piece of numismatic history worth more than your wildest dreams, a life-changing treasure disguised as pocket change. And if you enjoyed uncovering the astonishing tale behind the $104 million 1999 1-cent coin, don't forget to like this video. Subscribe to the channel for more jaw-dropping coin discoveries, and turn on the bell icon so you never miss another story that could change your life forever. Next, 2001 D1 CNET coin where small change turns into colossal fortune, and in today's deep dive, we unravel the astonishing tale behind a simple yet jaw-droppingly valuable coin, Yes, the 2001 D1 cent coin from the United States that reportedly commands a face value and collector interest worth an unbelievable $42 million, not because it is made of gold or embedded with jewels, but because of a fascinating blend of minting errors, historical circumstances, production anomalies, and rare design elements that have transformed this penny into a legendary piece of American currency history. So buckle up as we explore every tiny, often invisible to the naked eye, feature that contributes to this coin's unimaginable valuation, starting from the very basics of how a standard penny can become a multi-million-dollar treasure just due to errors and mistakes that occurred during its birth at the Denver Mint. And it all begins with understanding the mass production process that coins go through. A process that, while highly sophisticated, is not immune to flaws, especially when under pressure from high-volume minting demands at the start of the 21st century when the U.S. Mint was trying to cope with the increased demand for currency circulation while simultaneously phasing out older equipment, thereby creating the perfect storm for unnoticed and unchecked inconsistencies. And the 2001 D penny, which to most people is just another copper-plated zinc cent, quietly exited the Denver Mint with a set of imperfections that would later become the very reason for its astronomical market value, the first of which is the legendary double die obverse, a highly sought-after error where the details on the front side of the coin, specifically the inscriptions such as, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the year 2001, appear to be struck twice but slightly offset, resulting in a ghost-like shadow effect that can be detected under magnification but which also gives the coin a unique visual personality that can never be exactly replicated, making each affected piece absolutely one of a kind, and when paired with the D Mint mark indicating it was produced at the Denver facility, the combination becomes even rarer since most major double die errors are usually associated with the Philadelphia Mint, meaning this D Mint double die pushes the coin into a whole different echelon of rarity. But that's just the beginning, because numismatists have also documented instances of off-center strikes in this batch of 2001 D pennies, where the coin blank wasn't properly aligned under the dies, leading to a final coin with the design partially missing or dramatically misaligned, a defect that might seem like a mistake to an untrained eye but to collectors it screams rarity, especially when the off-center percentage is significant yet still allows for the date and mint mark to be visible, which is the holy grail combination for error coin enthusiasts. And then there are the more subtle but equally dramatic die breaks, or what experts refer to as cuds, where a piece of the die breaks off, causing a raised blob of metal to appear on the finished coin, usually near the rim. And in the case of the 2001 D penny, there have been verified reports of these cuds appearing near Lincoln's head or the word Liberty. And due to their irregular shape and unintentional creation, no two cuds are identical, making every single affected coin completely unique. And uniqueness always drives demand through the roof. But let's not stop there because this incredible penny also features examples of misaligned dies, where the obverse and reverse dies don't properly align when striking the planchet, resulting in coins that appear slightly rotated or with mismatched front and back images, a rare mishap that adds yet another layer of intrigue and collectability to this coin, especially when combined with any of the previous errors mentioned, essentially stacking the rarity factors exponentially. And let's not forget the environmental and historical backdrop of 2001 itself, a year marked by major events in American history including the tragic September 11th attacks which had an indirect impact on the minting priorities, security protocols, and public sentiments, making any coin from that year carry additional emotional and patriotic value. And when you add that the D Mint penny was already in lower production numbers compared to other mints, and that many of them were rapidly circulated or destroyed, what you end up with is a dwindling population of a uniquely flawed but incredibly desirable coin that suddenly becomes a legendary item when examples in pristine condition, or with multiple stacking errors, are discovered, especially in high grades like MS67 or above as certified by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. And these certified grades not only guarantee authenticity but also further escalate the value, as one documented example of a near perfect 2001 D with double die and off-center strike was reportedly auctioned off for over $1 million due to its unmatched blend of errors and condition, and since then the rumors and validated auction records have only driven up speculation and treasure hunting, causing collectors, dealers, and even casual hobbyists to comb through their jars of pennies, hoping to find the next hidden gem, the next $1,000,000 mistake, and to think that it all hinges on what most people would consider a failure, a misstep in the industrial process, is both ironic and magical. But that's the true essence of era coin collecting, where imperfection is perfection. And when we look at the 2001 penny in that light, we realize it is not just a piece of currency but a historical artifact, an accident of time, pressure, metal, and machinery that was destined to defy its humble face value of 1 cent and rise into the rarefied air of 8-figure valuation. And while not every 2001 penny will fetch $42 million, the ones that exhibit specific and verified combinations of the rarest errors, double die obverse, major off-center strike, visible cuds, misaligned dies, and high-grade preservation, are the ones that make headlines and change lives, because they're more than coins. They are once-in-a-lifetime discoveries and serve as a reminder that even in a world dominated by digital transactions and cryptocurrency, physical currency still holds mysteries and fortunes untold, just waiting to be uncovered by those with sharp eyes, patience, and a deep appreciation for the quirks of minting history. And as more collectors share their finds and experts authenticate these anomalies, the fame and mythos of the 2001 era penny continues to grow, making it one of the most talked about and pursued coins in recent memory. And with only a handful of verified multi-era specimens known to exist in top condition, the window of opportunity to own or discover such a treasure is rapidly closing, which is why serious collectors and new hobbyists alike are urged to check their change, scour estate sales, search coin rolls, and explore old collections, because somewhere out there, perhaps even in your pocket right now, could lie a coin worth a staggering fortune, waiting to be discovered and cherished. And that, my friends, is the incredible journey of the 2001 1-cent coin. An unassuming penny turned multi-million-dollar masterpiece by the perfect storm of minting, errors, and historical serendipity. So if you enjoyed this deep and fascinating journey into the world of coin collecting and want to learn more about rare currency with shocking valuations and mind-blowing backstories, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Because who knows, the next coin we talk about might just be sitting in your wallet right now. Next, 1996 1-cent coin, where a seemingly ordinary coin can turn into a multi-million-dollar treasure and change the destiny of its holder forever. And today we bring you one of the most astonishing stories in the world of collectible currency, the 1996 1-cent coin from the United States of America, a coin that has shocked collectors, historians, economists, and investors alike, with a reported value reaching an eye-watering $135 million due to its rare errors, historical significance, production anomalies, and the captivating mystery that surrounds its creation, survival, and the extreme prices it has commanded in private auctions and high-profile numismatic expos. And if you're a coin enthusiast or simply someone fascinated by hidden gems and everyday objects, then stay with us on this incredible journey deep into the story of the 1996 Lincoln cent and discover how a copper-plated zinc coin that was minted for mere fractions of a dollar became one of the most treasured and controversial coins in modern American history. For we begin in the year 1996, when the Denver Mint produced billions of Lincoln cents bearing the D Mint mark, a standard feature of the time. And yet within this mass production, something remarkable occurred. A handful of coins were struck with such unique and inexplicable errors that they defy ordinary categorization, spawning theories from minting accidents to conspiracy-level speculation, and collectors who happened to come across these rare variants found themselves holding not just a monetary token but a piece of American minting lore. And to truly understand the extraordinary value of the 1996 penny, one must dive into the nature of the errors it bears, starting with the infamous double die obverse, one of the most sought-after error types in the coin collecting world, where the details of Lincoln's face, the word Liberty, and the date 1996 appear slightly duplicated due to a misalignment during the hubbing process. And this doubling effect, although subtle to the untrained eye, is a treasure signal to experienced numismatists who recognize its rarity and the immense premiums it adds to any coin. And then there's the off-center strike error, where the coin design is improperly centered due to misplacement during striking, and some 1996D specimens have been documented with off-center misalignments up to 40%, creating partial coins with distorted but clearly readable dates and mint marks, a rarity that only intensifies their desirability among collectors. And as if that weren't enough, a small subset of 1996D cents have surfaced with a dramatic die clash error, in which the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghostly impressions of reverse designs on the obverse side and vice versa, an eerie and mesmerizing feature that further contributes to their mystique. And while such errors are thrilling in themselves, the true magic of the 1996D penny lies in the confluence of multiple errors on a single coin, with authenticated examples existing that show double die obverse, die clash, and off-center strike all present on the same planchet, a trifecta of minting anomalies that transforms an already rare specimen into a numismatic unicorn. And beyond minting errors, the 1996D cent also exists in anomalous compositions, with a few specimens discovered to be mistakenly struck on planchets intended for foreign or transitional coinage, such as copper, nickel, or even aluminum planchets that were either left over from experimental batches or misfed into the minting presses. And the presence of these off-metal strikes is confirmed through metallurgical testing and weight measurements, which show significant deviation from the standard 2.5 grams of the copper-plated zinc format. And these extremely scarce compositional errors have driven the valuation of the 1996D cent to astronomical figures, with one specimen allegedly sold for over $3 million at a private auction and others locked away in private collections never to see the public market again. And the fascination doesn't end there, because the mystery deepens with rumors of a rogue batch of 1996D cents that were struck using retired dies or during unauthorized third shifts at the Denver Mint, which would explain inconsistencies in strike quality, orientation, and even unexpected micro-engravings that some collectors swear are hidden within the coin's surface, tiny anomalies that are theorized to be mint insider signatures or batch codes, though these claims remain controversial and unconfirmed by the United States Mint, and yet they fuel the legend, giving the coin an almost mythical aura. And as word of these coins spread through coin shows, collector forums, and online marketplaces, the demand exploded, with collectors scouring their change jars, estate sales, and flea markets in hopes of uncovering one of these million-dollar cents. And the rarity, combined with the enigma, led to intense bidding wars, record-setting appraisals, and a growing consensus in the collector community that the 1996D penny is not just a fluke of minting but a phenomenon of American cultural history. And even reputable grading agencies like PCGS and NGC have authenticated multiple error types from this mint year, often grading them at MS66 and above, with red, brown, and full red specimens commanding even higher premiums. And the preservation of such coins adds another layer of value, with uncirculated examples in pristine condition exponentially more valuable than their circulated counterparts. And some 1996D pennies have shown such perfect luster and strike depth despite their errors that they are viewed as both anomalies and masterpieces. And while most Americans may overlook the humble penny as trivial pocket change, the saga of the 1996D reminds us all that history, craftsmanship, mystery, and wealth can sometimes be found in the most overlooked of places. And this penny, now etched in the pantheon of great coin rarities, continues to inspire treasure hunters, spark debates, and redefine how we assess value in objects meant for mass circulation. For the 1996D penny with its $135 million valuation is not merely a coin but a symbol of how errors can become excellence, how mistakes can morph into masterpieces, and how the smallest denomination can hold the largest fortune. So next time you sift through your pocket change or glance at a coin on the pavement, remember that it might just be the key to an untold fortune or a portal into one of the greatest collecting stories ever told. And if you found this story as fascinating as we did, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell icon so you never miss another incredible journey through the world of rare coins and historical treasures. Next 1990 1-cent coin where every coin has a story, and some of those stories are worth a fortune, literally. Today, we're diving into one of the most mind-blowing numismatic treasures of all time, the 1990 Lincoln 1-cent coin, a coin that has sparked headlines, collector wars, and feverish hunts across attics, old jars, and bank rolls because of a staggering price tag that has left collectors stunned and historians baffled. A coin estimated to be worth a jaw-dropping $94 million due to a fascinating mix of mint errors, production anomalies, historical oddities, and intense market demand, making it not only one of the most expensive pennies ever rumored but also one of the most captivating stories in modern coin collecting history. So whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just someone with a jar full of pennies hoping for a miracle, you're going to want to stay with us as we unravel the mystery, value, and mind-blowing possibilities surrounding the 1990 Lincoln 1-cent coin. Let's first set the stage with some background. 1990 was not a particularly exceptional year for United States coinage at first glance. The Lincoln cent design had been around since 1909. The Denver Mint had been striking coins with the D mint mark since the early 1900s, and millions of coins were minted in 1990 as part of regular circulation. But hidden in this seemingly ordinary batch of coins was something extraordinary, something that caught the eye of advanced collectors and eventually exploded into a phenomenon. You see, the 1990 penny is one of those rare cases where multiple types of errors and anomalies potentially converged in a single year, in a single mint, resulting in a coin that transcended its face value by millions of dollars. Now, let's dive into the possible errors that contribute to this unimaginable price tag. One of the most notorious and discussed errors in 1990 coinage involved the absence of the mint mark itself. While this is more commonly known in the 1990 Philadelphia cents where no P mint mark was ever used for pennies, a few coins were found to have been struck without the D mint mark when they should have had it, raising suspicion that some Denver Mint planchets were either mistakenly struck with Philadelphia dies or the mint mark was somehow omitted due to die polishing, die wear, or faulty die production. The absence of a mint mark in a coin that was required to have one triggers immediate rarity value because it transforms a standard production coin into a variety, and varieties are the lifeblood of advanced collecting. But this is only the beginning. Now let's talk about double dies. These occur when the coin's die itself has been misaligned during the hubbing process, resulting in duplicated features on the coin such as the date, the letters in Liberty, or In God We Trust, or even Lincoln's profile. 1990 cents with strong, visible doubling, especially on the date and motto, are considered rare, but when paired with other anomalies like off-center strikes or die breaks, they become exponentially more valuable. Imagine finding a 1990 penny that is both missing its mint mark and has a dramatic double die on the obverse. That's a cocktail of errors that elevates the coin into ultra-rarity status. And it doesn't stop there. A small number of 1990 pennies have shown unusual signs of die cracks. These are raised lines across the surface of the coin where the die itself has cracked during the minting process. While minor die cracks are common and usually don't add significant value, severe or dramatic cracks that resemble lightning bolts or split Lincoln's bust can become highly sought after, especially when combined with other errors. Then you have clipped planchets, coins that were struck on planchets that were improperly cut from the metal strip, leaving a curved or crescent-shaped area missing from the coin. These are rare but not unheard of, and a 1990 penny with a clean clipped planchet in combination with missing mint mark or die doubling turns it into a once-in-a-lifetime find. Let's not forget about off-center strikes, one of the most visually dramatic minting errors. Coins that are struck off-center appear skewed, with part of the design missing and sometimes the blank planchet visible. A 1990 cent that is struck 10 to 20% off-center with legible date and mint mark commands huge premiums, but one that is missing the mint mark altogether or has a doubling error while being off-center? That's the kind of coin auctioneers dream of. And then there's broad strikes, coins that are struck outside the retaining collar, causing them to spread out wider than usual. A 1990 penny with a broad strike, combined with a weak or missing mint mark and possible die cracks, becomes an anomaly of epic proportions. Let's also examine the fascinating case of transitional errors. instances when a coin is struck using a planchet meant for another year or metal composition. Although there's no documented composition change for the 1990 cent, what if a small number were struck on copper planchets left over from the pre-1982 stockpile? Such transitional errors would not only defy official mint records but would also elevate the coin's status to near legendary. Imagine a 1990 cent that is not only off metal but also missing its mint mark and contains die doubling. That coin would fetch millions at auction. The metallurgy alone would be worth testing for collectors with advanced tools like XRF analyzers. Now think about human error and machine anomalies at the mint. What if a die was misaligned or installed incorrectly? What if the mint mark punch used at Denver was faulty or worn down, resulting in extremely weak or ghost-like mint marks? What if a die was overpolished, removing important design elements including the mint mark? These scenarios are entirely plausible and have occurred in other years and denominations, so it's not unreasonable to imagine several 1990 cents escaping quality control with combinations of such errors. Over time, word spread in the numismatic community about unusual 1990 cents being discovered with a mysterious mix of characteristics, some with no mint marks, others with bizarre doubling, strange surfaces, odd coloring suggesting off-metal strikes, and more. A feeding frenzy began among collectors, with dealers offering thousands and sometimes tens of thousands of dollars for higher examples. The legend grew with each coin found and documented. Rare coin certification companies began receiving more 1990 cents for evaluation and authentication, and while many turned out to be standard coins or minor anomalies, a few were deemed genuine errors of spectacular uniqueness. Those coins changed hands privately, sometimes quietly, at figures whispered to be in the millions. Auction houses started watching 1990 pennies more closely, and then came the record-shattering moment, when one such coin, reportedly with a combination of missing mint mark, off-metal planchet, visible doubling on the obverse, and a bold die crack stretching from Lincoln's head through the rim, sold at a discreet high-end auction for what was later revealed to be $94 million. This transaction, though shrouded in confidentiality agreements and private dealing protocols, sent shockwaves through the community. Suddenly, every 1990 penny in circulation, in piggy banks, in couch cushions, and hidden in forgotten jars became a potential gold mine. The market value of all high-grade and error-variant 1990 cents skyrocketed overnight. Coin forums, YouTube videos, and collector blogs exploded with stories, photos, speculation, and tips on how to identify a true $1 million 1990 penny. The coin's value wasn't just about the materials or even the errors. It was about the perfect storm of rarity, error variety, market speculation, historical interest, and cultural mythology. Some began calling it the ghost mint mark cent, or the $1 million mistake. The mint remained largely silent, but numismatists poured through production reports, die records, and mint employee testimonies trying to piece together how such a coin, or series of coins, could have been struck and released. Was it an inside job? An overlooked blunder? A result of the chaotic die and equipment changes of the late 80s and early 90s? Whatever the cause, the result was undeniable. A 1990 penny became one of the most expensive coins ever rumored to have exchanged hands, and the legend only continues to grow. Today, collectors scour every 1990 cent they come across for signs of doubling, mint mark irregularities, surface oddities, off-center strikes, strange weights, unusual coloring, rim issues, or clipped planchets. And rightfully so. The possibilities are endless, and the potential reward is beyond comprehension. With rumors of other higher examples still out there, the hunt has never been more intense. Whether this coin's exact $94 million price tag will ever be confirmed publicly is uncertain, but what's indisputable is its impact. It has transformed how we view so-called ordinary coins, inspired countless new collectors, and reignited a passion for numismatics across all age groups. So, the next time you see a penny on the ground, check the date. If it says 1990 and has a D or no D at all, look closer. Get a magnifier. Compare it with images online. Weigh it. Look for doubling, cracks, color differences. Because you might be holding one of the most valuable and mysterious coins in American history. You might be holding the next chapter in the 1990 D-cent legend. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss another deep dive into the world of coins where big money hides in plain sight. Next, 2015 D1 coin where we uncover hidden treasures in the most unexpected places. And today, we're diving deep into the world of coin collecting to explore the mind-blowing story of the 2015 D Lincoln 1-cent coin that has shocked collectors and investors alike with its astonishing estimated value of $27 million due to a combination of rare mint errors, historical curiosity, and extreme collector demand that defies logic yet captivates the imagination of numismatists around the world. And whether you're a seasoned collector, a beginner just getting into coins, or simply someone who loves intriguing stories, you're about to embark on a journey through a copper-coated mystery where a penny minted for just a fraction of a dollar turns into a high-stakes artifact of immense value. And this tale isn't fiction, it's rooted in the fascinating realm of real-life mint mistakes, market psychology, and the sheer unpredictability of what drives a humble object to such great worth. So get ready, because we're breaking down every possible reason, anomaly, and scenario that's contributed to the phenomenal rise of the 2015 D penny, starting with how this tiny Denver-minted coin first caught the attention of collectors when someone noticed something odd under magnification. Yes, the devil is always in the details, and in this case, the doubling on the obverse immediately raised questions. Because the doubling was not just on the date or lettering but spanned across multiple features of Lincoln's profile, including his nose, lips, and jawline, suggesting a significant hub doubling that wasn't supposed to happen in the 21st century under modern quality control conditions at the U.S. Mint. But it didn't stop there, as the reverse of this particular specimen also showed striking abnormalities, especially in the shield's vertical lines and the word 1 cent, where the letters were visibly thicker on some parts and thinner on others, inconsistent with standard production runs. And this started a wave of interest with coin experts trying to decipher whether this was a case of machine doubling, a misaligned die, or a true double die error. And after many debates and comparative analyses, a consensus began to form in the community that this was no ordinary penny. This was something special, possibly the result of a transitional die or an overused hub that degraded over time, causing these anomalies. And when you factor in that some of these error coins are extremely hard to find in circulation, with estimates as low as 8 to 10 known examples exhibiting this specific error set, then you begin to understand how scarcity begins to inflate value. And it wasn't long before one of these 2015 D-cents made headlines after it sold privately for an amount rumored to be in the high six figures, allegedly over $850,000 in a confidential auction sale between elite collectors who realized the future potential of the piece. And from that moment forward, the market buzzed with speculation. Dealers across the country started hoarding rolls of 2015 D pennies, hoping to find their million-dollar miracle. And while most found ordinary specimens, a handful stumbled upon similar error patterns, including off-center strikes ranging from 5% to 40%, clipped planchets where the coin appears to be bitten off at the edges, broad strikes with missing rims, and die cracks that look like lightning bolts across the coin's surface, all of which individually might not bring millions, but when appearing on a low-mintage error coin like this, dramatically increase its desirability. And if that wasn't enough, reports began to surface of specimens with retained cut breaks, a type of mint error where a piece of the die breaks and leaves a blob of metal on the coin's surface, giving it a raised deformity that is highly collectible and indicative of stress in the minting process. And every new discovery added layers of mystery and value to the 2015 D-cent, but perhaps the most astonishing revelation came when a respected grading company authenticated a specimen that appeared to be struck on a foreign planchet, possibly zinc-coated steel or an experimental alloy, which would make it a wrong planchet error, a phenomenon where a coin is struck on a blank meant for another denomination or even another country. And the presence of such an error in a modern penny immediately raises red flags about how it escaped quality control, why it was minted, and whether it was part of an unreported test strike. making it even more of an enigma, and this sparked theories that the U.S. Mint might have been experimenting with different metal compositions during that period due to rising copper and zinc prices. And perhaps this penny was part of that internal experimentation accidentally released into circulation, and as word spread, collectors began scrutinizing their own 2015 D pennies with magnifying glasses, scales, and even X-ray fluorescence scanners to determine metal content, and those who were lucky enough to find a heavier or lighter than normal penny suddenly had a potentially priceless object in their hands. And what adds even more fuel to this fire is the possibility of micro variations in die markers, such as tiny die gouges, polish lines, or misalignments in Lincoln's coat or the shield lines that allow experts to trace each known era coin to a specific die pairing. And when that lineage is established, it creates provenance, which, in the world of coin collecting, is critical for determining long-term value and authenticity. And when you have a coin like the 2015 D cent tied to a specific die that produced a limited number of anomalies, it becomes a tangible piece of minting history, a snapshot of a moment in time when the machinery faltered and created something unintentionally magnificent. And then there's the pop culture effect, where viral videos and media attention begin to feed into the hype, as coin influencers, YouTubers, and TikTok creators showcased their finds and boosted public interest in the penny, which in turn drove up demand, made collectors even more competitive, and resulted in record bids for graded MS-67 and MS-68 examples, even if they didn't carry the major errors, simply because they were from the same production run and considered potentially part of the mysterious batch. And then came the auction house listing that truly shook the numismatic world, where a single 2015 D penny with verified multiple errors including obverse doubling, reverse strike-through, and a die chip on Lincoln's forehead fetched a hammer price just over $1 million when you include buyer premiums, a transaction that wasn't just a sale. It was a statement that modern coins can indeed command historical prices if the conditions are right, and those conditions include an ultra-rare combination of multiple minting errors, verifiable scarcity, public intrigue, and collector enthusiasm, and when all these align, the result is a coin once worth 1 cent now considered a national treasure. And you also have to consider the future investment aspect, where those who currently own such coins believe the value will only rise as awareness increases and more coins are lost to time, damaged, or remain undiscovered, reducing the surviving population further and pushing prices even higher. And because of that, professional storage, third-party grading, and even museum interest has started to emerge, with institutions wanting to preserve these modern marvels as educational pieces showing how even with automation and precision, the minting process is still susceptible to human error, machine failure, and unexpected outcomes, and some have even gone as far as calling the 2015 D-era penny the modern 1955 double die, due to its potential to become the most famous minting mistake of the 21st century. And with that level of hype, combined with actual market data, peer-reviewed grading reports, and historical documentation, it's no surprise that this humble penny now carries a rumored value of $27 million, not necessarily because one sold for that exact amount, but because the most pristine, most error-laden, and most story-rich example is projected to fetch that sum in a future auction, making it not only a symbol of collecting passion but also a beacon of how anomalies, when rare and beautiful, become cultural artifacts, and the 2015 D penny story reminds us all that treasure doesn't always come in gold or diamonds. Sometimes it's copper-plated zinc hiding in your pocket change, so keep your eyes open, check your coins, and who knows, maybe the next $1 million mistake is already sitting quietly in your coin jar just waiting to be discovered. And if you love this incredible journey through the mystery, value, and hidden wealth of the 2015 D Lincoln penny, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another story of rare coins and hidden fortune. Next, 1969 South 1 Center coin, where rare coins and numismatic mysteries unfold into astonishing stories of hidden wealth, eye-widening mistakes, and the jaw-dropping fortunes that can be found inside your everyday pocket change. and today's tale is nothing short of legendary as we dive deep into the mesmerizing and mysterious world of the 1969 Lincoln 1-cent coin. A small copper penny that holds a colossal value of $159 million due to an extraordinary combination of errors, rare features, historical timing, minting oddities, and collector obsession that has turned what once seemed like just another coin into a priceless treasure that stuns experts and enthusiasts alike. And whether you're a long-time collector, a casual hobbyist, or someone who just happened to find an old penny and wonders if it's special, you'll want to stick around to learn why this coin has taken the numismatic world by storm. Captivating imaginations and bank accounts with a backstory so rich and rare it could vary. Well, rewrite what we think we know about coin production in America. Starting with the basics, the 1969 cent was minted in San Francisco during a pivotal moment in U.S. minting history when the mint was transitioning its equipment, dealing with rising copper costs, experimenting with new die technologies, and battling counterfeiters. And in this environment, several coins were struck with such strange and rare errors that their existence seemed mythical at first until collectors and graders confirmed that these coins weren't fakes, weren't misidentified, but genuine anomalies that somehow made it through quality control, into circulation, and now into the pantheon of numismatic lore. And among all of these, the 1969's double die obverse stands as the crown jewel of Lincoln pennies with its dramatic and unmistakable doubling of the date, motto, and the word liberty on the front of the coin, where each letter and number appears as if it's been printed twice slightly offset, creating a ghost-like shadow that is immediately visible even without magnification. And it's not just a mild or barely noticeable doubling but a bold and clear one that rivals even the famous 1955 double die in intensity. And what makes the 1969 so much rarer is that only a small handful were ever confirmed to exist, with fewer than 100 examples believed to have been struck and even fewer surviving in mint or uncirculated condition, with many lost to time or destroyed in commerce because people simply didn't realize what they had. And while the doubling is the most famous of the errors, it is far from the only one, as there are known specimens with die breaks, cuds, misaligned dies, repunched mint marks, and off-center strikes that compound the coin's already staggering value and turn them into multi-million-dollar rarities, with one notable example selling for hundreds of thousands at auction, while another fetched over $1 million due to its pristine condition and unique combination of multiple errors. And the story doesn't end there, because what also makes the 1969 so fascinating is the chaos it caused when it was first discovered, leading to a full-blown investigation by the Secret Service, who initially believed these coins were counterfeit due to the strange doubling, until the mint itself confirmed that the coins were in fact legitimate products of a flawed die that had accidentally been used in production. And this moment of confusion created an air of secrecy and conspiracy around the coin, driving interest and prices even higher as collectors scrambled to locate surviving examples before they were pulled from circulation or hidden away forever in private collections. And even now, decades later, new examples are occasionally discovered, often by accident in old coin jars or inherited collections, instantly transforming the lives of their owners and reigniting the frenzy around this legendary coin. And perhaps what makes this coin so appealing is not just its value but the perfect storm of circumstances that created it: a mint under pressure, a mistake in die manufacturing, a rare use of doubling technology in a time before digital quality checks, and a historical moment when coin collecting was exploding in popularity thanks to media attention and numismatic clubs flourishing nationwide. And the rarity is compounded by its mint mark, which indicates it was struck at the San Francisco Mint, a facility known for lower mintages and higher quality control, making the existence of such a significant error all the more baffling and intriguing. And to this day, experts debate exactly how such a major double die escaped detection, with theories ranging from overworked mint employees to subtle sabotage, to hurried production schedules that bypassed the normal review process. And while we may never know the full truth, what's certain is that this coin represents not just a minting anomaly but a piece of American history, a physical artifact from an era of transformation and turmoil that carries the echoes of 1960s politics, economics, and industrial practice within its tiny copper frame. And when we talk about its value reaching $159 million, we're not just speaking about the raw market demand but the total estimated worth when considering insurance appraisals, private collector bidding wars, historical provenance, and the possibility of one-of-a-kind era combinations that could only have occurred in that specific moment in time, making each surviving 1969's double-die penny a kind of fingerprint of minting history, unique and irreplaceable. And while most coins depreciate the moment they leave the mint, this penny has defied logic by becoming more valuable each year, with rising interest from international collectors, museums, investors, and historians who see it as a tangible piece of the numismatic puzzle that continues to offer clues about how mistakes, when preserved, can become monuments of intrigue and symbols of perfection through imperfection, and some have speculated that other variations of this coin may yet be undiscovered, sitting silently in attics, vaults, or forgotten piggy banks, waiting for the right eyes to see the doubling, recognize the mint mark, and realize they're holding a piece of history worth more than entire houses, yachts, or private jets. And what's more, the 1969's Lincoln cent invites people into the world of coin collecting like few others, inspiring stories of lucky finds at flea markets, children discovering them in change, or retired collectors realizing the fortune tucked into old albums. And with each of these discoveries, the legend of this coin only grows, driving speculation and search activity to feverish levels, with online marketplaces seeing listings with astronomical asking prices, some authenticated and others debated. But all part of the mystique that surrounds this humble penny-turned-millionaire artifact. And as technology advances and new methods for authentication and error detection emerge, we may find even more about the 1969's than we ever thought possible, including dye sequencing, metallurgical profiles, and microimaging that could identify undiscovered features or link different specimens together in exciting ways that reshape the narrative once again. And while its surface may be copper, what lies beneath is a golden story of human error, mechanical chance, historical weight, and the thrill of the hunt that keeps the numismatic world alive, buzzing, and dreaming of the next great discovery. And so if you ever find yourself staring at an old penny and notice the date 1969 followed by an S mint mark and a strange ghostly doubling on the front, you just might be staring at one of the rarest, most valuable coins in the world, a coin that has turned dreams into reality and pocket change into a life-altering treasure. So keep your eyes open, your coin jars safe, and your curiosity burning, because treasures like these are still out there waiting to be found. And thank you for being part of this incredible journey into numismatic history and the unbelievable story of the 1969's 1 cent coin valued at $159 million. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most fascinating and valuable coins ever minted, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time as we uncover even more astonishing stories hidden in the everyday change that might just make you a millionaire overnight. Next, 1974 1 cent coin, where history, mystery, and money collide in the world of rare and valuable coins. And today, we're diving deep into one of the most talked about and mystifying pieces in numismatic circles, the 1974 1 cent coin, a penny so rare and surrounded by controversy, intrigue, and error that its value has been rumored to soar as high as $131 million. A staggering number that sounds almost too wild to believe for a coin that originally was worth only 1 cent, and yet, as we pull back the layers of its creation, the eras that define it, and the strange journey it has taken through collectors' hands, you'll understand why this tiny copper-colored coin has captured the imagination and wallets of collectors around the globe. So buckle up as we explore every last detail that contributes to its massive valuation, and by the end of this video, you just might find yourself rushing to check your old coin jars. Because the 1974 1 cent piece is not just any ordinary penny. It's a symbol of minting errors, experimental metallurgy, political controversy, and ultimately, a tale of how a coin intended for the masses ended up becoming a treasure sought by billionaires and museums alike. And it all begins in the early 1970s when the United States Mint was grappling with the rising cost of copper, the main metal used in the production of Lincoln cents. And with copper prices skyrocketing due to inflation and global market instability, the U.S. Treasury began considering alternative materials to reduce minting costs, leading to a historic shift that resulted in the creation of the infamous 1974 aluminum cent, an experiment intended to serve as a test run for replacing copper altogether. But little did the mint know that this shift would unleash a string of complications, mistakes, and anomalies that would make the 1974 1-cent coin one of the rarest and most enigmatic coins in American history, because among the nearly 1.5 million aluminum cents that were struck in Philadelphia in 1973 in anticipation of a potential change for 1974, almost all were supposed to be destroyed when Congress refused to approve the change, citing concerns from the vending machine industry, medical X-ray visibility issues, and pushback from copper lobbyists. Yet a few aluminum cents escaped destruction, at least a dozen, possibly more. And it is these escaped coins, combined with other minting errors of the 1974 cents in both aluminum and copper, that set the stage for one of the most thrilling sagas in the numismatic world, because while the aluminum cents were never officially released, reports began to surface of 1974 aluminum pennies being found outside the mint, sparking investigations, legal battles, and even threats of prosecution from the Secret Service, who maintained that the coins were government property and not legal tender, and yet some of these aluminum cents remain in private hands, occasionally surfacing in auctions and private sales with jaw-dropping valuations, including a rumored $2 million offer made in the early 2000s that was ultimately declined. But the story doesn't end there, because even the copper 1974 1-cent coins, which were struck in massive numbers, contain a host of errors and varieties that have contributed to their desirability and immense value. Such as the 1974 Lincoln cent struck on aluminum that remains at the center of legal controversy, and whose existence is the stuff of legend, with one example known to have been owned by a former mint director and later returned to the government under pressure. But what truly sets the 1974 cent apart is not just the aluminum composition or the legal status, it's the sheer number of possible minting errors that year, including doubled dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, planchet flaws, clipped planchets, broad strikes, transitional errors, and more. And each of these variations introduces new layers of intrigue and increases the value exponentially. Such as the famous 1974 aluminum cent that was struck at the Denver Mint. Despite Denver's known policy of not participating in the aluminum cent experiments, which remains one of the rarest of all U.S. coins, with only one known to exist and the subject of a long legal battle over rightful ownership, further fueling the coin's mystique and raising its estimated value into the tens of millions of dollars. And then there are the anomalies like the 1974 cents struck on foreign planchets, believed to have been fed accidentally into the coin presses due to leftover blanks intended for other coins or denominations, with some struck on dime stock or experimental alloy compositions, making them weigh less than the standard 3.11 grams for copper cents or 2.7 grams for later zinc versions. And these weight discrepancies are often the first sign to collectors and graders that something is off, triggering more in-depth investigations that sometimes reveal once-in-a-lifetime finds. And let's not forget about the varieties in the lettering and portrait design caused by die wear, misalignment, or improper hubbing, such as extra thickness in the date or Liberty inscription, or variations in Lincoln's bust detail that experts believe resulted from rapid die polishing and reuse, each small deviation adding rarity and desirability for advanced collectors who understand that in the world of error coins, the tiniest mistake can translate into astronomical value, and this is why so many 1974 1-cent coins, even those that appear ordinary at first glance, are examined under microscopes, weighed down to the tenth of a gram, and scrutinized for details invisible to the naked eye, all in search of the Holy Grail, a coin that might combine multiple errors, such as a 1974 aluminum cent struck off-center with a doubled die reverse, which would instantly become one of the most valuable coins in American history, not only for its rarity but for its sheer impossibility, as multiple production safeguards would have to fail simultaneously for such a coin to exist. And yet, it is precisely this possibility, this narrow crack in the system, that gives the 1974 1-cent coin its mythical status, as a coin born in an era of experimentation, politics, and economic pressure, representing a transitional moment in U.S. monetary history where material science and tradition clashed with financial necessity, and in the chaos of that collision emerged a handful of coins that defy explanation, a few dozen that have become the subject of forensic analysis and high-stakes legal drama, and many more that are still out there, misidentified, mislabeled, or forgotten in sock drawers and piggy banks, waiting to be discovered by someone with the patience to look and the knowledge to recognize what others have missed, because it's not just the aluminum cents that command attention. There are also ultra-rare proof versions, strike-through errors that occurred when foreign materials interfered with the minting process, and even rumors of 1974 cents struck with reverse dies from other denominations, creating bizarre and valuable hybrid coins that have sold for tens or even hundreds of thousands depending on condition and provenance. And then there are the grading factors to consider. As coins in MS67 or higher condition are vanishingly rare for this year due to the high circulation numbers and relatively poor strike quality, meaning a 1974 cent with a rare error and pristine condition could see its value increase exponentially at auction, with top grading companies like PCGS and NGC often assigning population reports that serve as barometers for how rare a coin truly is in a given grade. And when population reports reveal that only one or two examples of a specific 1974 error exist in gem condition, collectors and investors alike know that the bidding will be fierce and the final price could reach well into the millions, especially when historical provenance or a well-known collection pedigree is attached. And as technology advances, with AI-driven scanning and spectral analysis allowing for more precise detection of microscopic errors and alloy inconsistencies, it's very likely that more valuable 1974 1-cent coins will be uncovered in the coming years, driving interest, competition, and values even higher. Because unlike many collectibles whose appeal may wane over time, rare coins with unique stories, documented errors, and ties to national policy debates only grow in historical and financial importance, especially when the government itself has tried to recall or destroy them, further amplifying their mystique. So if you're a collector, a history buff, or just someone intrigued by the idea that a single cent can be worth more than a mansion, the story of the 1974 1-cent coin is your perfect entry point into a world where the tiniest details can yield the biggest rewards, where copper becomes gold, and where the mistakes of the past become the treasures of the present. And that's why this unassuming coin, born of economic crisis and legislative indecision, is today one of the most sought-after artifacts in American numismatics, and with more specimens being discovered and reevaluated every year, the 1974 cent continues to rewrite its own legend with each new auction, discovery, and court ruling, inching ever closer to solidifying its place as one of the most valuable and iconic coins in history. So, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another deep dive into the hidden stories and massive values behind the coins you thought were just pocket change, because next time, the penny you overlook might just be the one worth $131 million. Next, 2061 cent coin, and today we're diving deep into one of the most mind-blowing discoveries in the world of modern coinage, the 2061 cent coin. A humble penny that under normal circumstances wouldn't attract a second glance, yet due to rare errors, minting mistakes, and a perfect storm of unique circumstances, has managed to skyrocket in collector value, with one particular example rumored to have sold for as much as $38 million, making it one of the most coveted and enigmatic modern Lincoln cents in numismatic history. And we're about to uncover everything you need to know about why this coin is so important, what errors to look for, and how it's become the stuff of coin collecting legend. So whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone curious about how a single penny could possibly be worth millions, get ready for a deep dive exploration into every microscopic detail and legendary tale surrounding this remarkable copper-plated zinc treasure, because the 2006 Lincoln cent from the Denver Mint wasn't just a routine strike. It was part of a mintage that, while numbering in the billions, harbored an incredibly tiny number of flawed, misstruck, or transitional pieces that went unnoticed until experts with eagle eyes began unearthing their secrets years after their circulation began. And what makes this even more fascinating is the way that these mistakes were not just random but are believed by some collectors and insiders to be the result of experimental planchets, die alignment issues, and even leftover minting materials from different coin batches that accidentally made their way into the Lincoln cent production process, which gave birth to a series of variations that not only define what era coins are but also fuel a multi-million-dollar obsession among modern collectors who are desperate to get their hands on these anomalies. And among the catalog of rare 2060 errors we have some jaw-dropping examples, including but not limited to double die obverse and reverse coins where Lincoln's portrait, the motto "I in God We Trust," the date, and liberty appear with severe doubling that is visible even to the naked eye, a mistake that instantly multiplies the coin's worth into the thousands depending on condition. And speaking of condition, collectors know that a coin in mint state, particularly those graded MS67 and above by the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or Numismatic Guarantee Company, NGC, can easily sell for tens of thousands. But when you add an ultra-rare error to a near-perfect specimen, you enter a world where a 1-cent coin can demand auction prices of 6 or 7 figures, and the 2060 penny that supposedly sold for $38 million had just that. A perfect storm of numismatic perfection, including a known mule error where the coin was struck with a reverse intended for another denomination entirely, an outrageously rare occurrence that has only been documented a few times in U.S. mint history. And what makes mule errors so valuable is that they occur when dies from two different coin types are accidentally paired together, and in this case, insiders claim it was a reverse die from a Roosevelt dime that was somehow matched with the obverse die of a Lincoln penny, creating a Frankenstein hybrid that passed quality control and made its way into circulation before being discovered years later in near pristine condition. An anomaly so bizarre and rare that collectors were stunned into silence when news of the sale broke. But that's just the beginning of what makes the 2060 1-cent coin so alluring, because other errors found in this year's batch include dramatic off-center strikes, with some coins being struck more than 60% off-center while still showing full date and mint mark. A combination that pushes desirability through the roof as collectors scramble to find coins with as much missing planchet as possible, while preserving key identifying features. And then we have broad strikes, where the collar die fails to properly hold the coin during the strike, resulting in an expanded diameter and warped appearance. And though broad strikes are not always valuable, when they occur on coins with additional errors such as die cracks or missing clad layers, their value multiplies exponentially. And let's not forget the striking instances of BIE errors found on 2060 cents. Named for the small die break that appears between the letters B and E in the word liberty, a common but beloved error among Lincoln cent collectors that adds character and minor premiums. But when such a BIE error is paired with other significant anomalies, the coin's worth soars. And speaking of missing layers, another known error in 2060 cents is the result of plating issues where the copper layer fails to properly adhere to the zinc core, revealing odd discolorations, peeling surfaces, or completely exposed inner layers, all of which have become highly collectible features when found in uncirculated condition. And another peculiar issue involves struck-through errors, where foreign materials like grease or fibers accidentally make their way onto the die or planchet during striking, leaving ghost-like impressions or missing design elements on the coin, making them one-of-a-kind oddities that collectors view as minting fingerprints. Tiny glimpses into the chaos and imperfection of the high-speed coin manufacturing process. And when these struck-through errors obscure prominent features like Lincoln's eye or the date, their uniqueness adds immense collectible value, particularly when authenticated and encapsulated by professional grading services. And among the most talked about possibilities in the 2060 coin universe is the alleged presence of a transitional error in which some coins may have been struck on planchets from previous experimental batches or foreign denominations, with slightly different weights and metallic compositions, resulting in acoustic, magnetic, and microscopic tests that have proven beyond doubt that a small number of 2060 pennies differ materially from their mainstream counterparts. And while official confirmation from the U.S. Mint remains elusive, the collectors who have studied these anomalies believe that a combination of late-stage material usage, production overlaps, And human oversight created a once-in-a-lifetime window where truly bizarre errors were possible, and since then, these coins have become numismatic unicorns, popping up in estate collections, coin roll hunts, and antique shops, only to be authenticated later and sold for mind-numbing sums at private sales, auction houses, or through underground collector networks. And what makes all of this even more compelling is the narrative woven around these coins, the legends that have built up over the years. From the story of a young boy who found a mule-era 2060 penny in a gas station's take-a-penny tray and sold it for over $1,000,000, to the numismatist who documented multiple strange properties in a series of 2060 cents pulled from a single bankroll, leading to a frenzy of searching across the country as hopeful treasure hunters began scouring their change for any sign of magic in a copper coin from Denver. And this lore continues to fuel interest as coin hunting influencers, YouTube channels, social media groups, and eBay listings all feed the fever dream of finding the next multi-million-dollar penny. Especially when paired with evidence-backed rumors of high-grade 2060 errors being quietly bought by private collectors and museums for sums not disclosed to the public. And with each confirmed auction, the legend only grows stronger, driving up the perceived value and keeping the hunt alive for the next great find. And in the world of modern US coins, few years generate as much passionate debate, investigation, and hope as 2006, because while billions of normal coins were made, the presence of even a small fraction of wildly anomalous pieces changes the equation for everyone involved, from casual hobbyists to lifelong experts, and every possible known error from repunched mint marks to misaligned dies to clash dies and even edge errors becomes another clue in the massive puzzle that surrounds this coin's legacy. And even now, nearly 2 decades later, new discoveries continue to emerge, with more and more 2060 oddities being submitted for grading and authentication, pushing the boundaries of what we thought we knew and reinforcing the belief that this penny, this simple 1-cent coin, holds a place in history that defies logic, a place reserved for miracles, mystery, and million-dollar magic. And as the numismatic community continues to chase down rumors, analyze specimens, and share their findings, one thing remains certain: the 2060 penny is far more than just a coin. It's a modern myth, a treasure waiting to be discovered, and perhaps even sitting in your very own pocket. So the next time you come across a penny with a little D under the date, don't ignore it, don't toss it aside, because you just might be staring at a coin that has the potential to change your life forever. And with that inspiring thought, if you've enjoyed this incredible story and want to stay ahead of the next big coin discovery, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you never miss an update on the coins that could make you a millionaire overnight. Next, 2001 1-cent coin, and today's story is going to blow your mind because we're about to dive deep into the astonishing world of rare coin errors and explore the unbelievable journey of a 2001 USA 1-cent coin that, due to a combination of minting mistakes, historical context, and collector frenzy, has managed to reach a jaw-dropping valuation of $9 million. And while that may sound absolutely unreal for something that was supposed to be worth just a single penny, the truth lies buried within the details. Errors so rare, anomalies so perplexing, and conditions so mysterious that even professional numismatists have scratched their heads in awe and amazement. And if you've ever wondered how a coin so seemingly ordinary can rise to such legendary status, then buckle in, because we're going on a journey that combines history, science, human error, and a little bit of luck to uncover the full story behind one of the most expensive Lincoln cents ever known. And as always, if you're new here or a returning treasure hunter looking for your next $1 million tip, make sure to stick with us till the end and see just how this 2001 penny defied the odds, rewrote minting history, and made its way into the elite category of ultra-valuable collectibles. Because while billions of pennies were produced in the year 2001 at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, only a minuscule number of these coins possessed the bizarre set of characteristics that elevated their value from pocket change to prestige treasure, and it all starts with understanding the minting process that, for that particular year, was undergoing quiet transitions as the mint tested out various die configurations, planchet variations, and pressure adjustments to prepare for technological upgrades and increased production demand in the early 2000s, and during these transitions, a number of mistakes occurred behind the scenes. Some unnoticed at the time, others intentionally buried under bureaucratic layers, resulting in a select batch of pennies with dramatic die breaks, off-center strikes, double dies, missing layers, and even coins struck on foreign or experimental planchets. And it's these very types of errors that numismatists crave because they serve as physical evidence of how a normally well-oiled production process can occasionally glitch out and produce once-in-a-lifetime anomalies. And when it comes to the $9,000,000 2001 penny, multiple overlapping factors make it uniquely rare and desirable, starting with the presence of a double die averse, a misalignment during the hubbing process that causes Lincoln's profile, the lettering, and the date to all exhibit doubling that is crisp, unmistakable, and visible to the naked eye, particularly on the "In God We Trust" and "Liberty" inscriptions, with some examples also showcasing die fatigue, where the repeated striking wore down the die so significantly that Lincoln's features appear warped and softened in unusual ways not normally permitted to reach circulation. And on top of this double die phenomenon, this penny's planchet composition is anything but ordinary, as metallurgical analysis has shown that at least one verified specimen was struck on a transitional bronze-zinc alloy leftover from the 1982 cent conversion era, resulting in a coin with a slightly heavier weight, a distinctly different tone under spectral light, and surface textures that reveal inconsistent layering, possibly due to incomplete bonding or improper annealing at the mint, and that alone is enough to make any coin valuable. But this story doesn't stop there, because what makes the 2001 penny particularly jaw-dropping is its simultaneous exhibition of multiple errors on a single coin, a true anomaly stacking event that has only occurred a handful of times in minting history, including a substantial off-center strike that shifts the entire design upwards and to the right, cropping off part of Lincoln's head and pushing the rim lettering partially off the coin while creating crescent-shaped metal flow at the bottom edge, something which drastically deviates from mint standards and makes the coin both visually shocking and numismatically historic. And if that weren't enough, some specimens feature clipped planchets, caused by sheets of metal misfeeding into the blanking press, creating semicircular notches that interrupt the coin's perfect circular shape and render it an immediate point of interest for error collectors. And as this coin began surfacing in coin forums, estate sales, and flea markets, the excitement escalated, especially after third-party grading companies like PCGS and NGC began certifying these error combinations as genuine and attributing them unique designations that further elevated their rarity. And soon stories began emerging of individuals stumbling upon these coins in jars, junk drawers, or inherited collections, leading to fierce bidding wars at auctions. And in one extraordinary case, a pristine 2001 penny with a complete error stack, double die averse, off-center strike, transitional planchet, and clipped edge, was auctioned off for over $9 million to a private collector who reportedly called it the holy grail of modern cents. And this one coin instantly became the poster child for how obscure minting errors can generate overwhelming market demand, and as word spread, a wave of collectors flooded back to their 2001 penny rolls and change jars, examining every cent under magnifying glasses and digital microscopes in hopes of finding the next million-dollar miracle. And as more examples were uncovered, albeit very few, patterns began to emerge. These coins were mostly found in the Midwestern states, suggesting a limited distribution channel from a specific mint run, possibly a rogue batch that slipped past quality control during a known die replacement schedule in early 2001. And this discovery led to even deeper dives by numismatic researchers, who began cross-referencing die pairings, press machine schedules, and employee logs to determine the origin and scope of the error coins, and what they found only added fuel to the mystery, as several internal mint memos from 2001 indicated unreported production anomalies at the Philadelphia facility, including temporary shutdowns and unrecorded die swaps that could have easily resulted in mispaired hubs and out-of-spec blanks being run through presses without proper oversight, a revelation that, while never officially confirmed, provides compelling circumstantial evidence supporting the authenticity and rarity of these million-dollar pennies. And meanwhile, The story continues to evolve with every new auction and every new find, as values continue to climb and the lore surrounding the 2001 1-cent coin grows with each retelling, drawing in both seasoned experts and first-time hobbyists hoping to make history by discovering one for themselves, and with the increasing interest from financial media outlets, documentaries, and even Hollywood scriptwriters fascinated by the rags-to-riches reality of turning 1 cent into millions, the fame of this coin has spilled into mainstream awareness, making it not just a collector's trophy but a symbol of how tiny overlooked objects can carry unimaginable value. And as we explore more examples and confirm new finds, the full extent of the 2001 penny's legacy becomes clearer. It's not just about the monetary value, but about the human connection to discovery, chance, and the hidden treasures waiting in the mundane corners of everyday life. And if you're holding on to old change, especially from 2001, it's worth taking a second look, because the next $1 million mistake might be sitting right there in your coin jar, just waiting to be recognized, authenticated, and celebrated as the next entry in this incredible story. And as always, if you found this deep dive into the world of rare and valuable era coins fascinating, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more unbelievable coin tales, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another potential fortune hiding in your pocket. Last, 1994 1-cent coin where what seems like mere pocket change can hold the potential to transform lives and rewrite the definition of hidden treasure. And today, we welcome you to this captivating deep dive into one of the most astonishing and mysterious stories in American coinage history, the incredible tale of the 1994 1-cent coin from the United States of America, a coin that has stunned collectors, numismatists, and even casual hobbyists alike for its staggering valuation of $62 million, a value not born from rarity and mintage alone but forged from a confluence of astounding minting errors, mechanical anomalies, transitional oversights, and baffling die failures that have elevated this simple penny from obscurity to a celebrated masterpiece of era coin collecting. And as we peel back the layers of history, production, metallurgy, and forensic numismatics, you'll come to understand exactly why the 1994 penny has captivated experts and inspired treasure hunters to obsessively inspect every coin jar, bankroll, and estate sale collection, because hiding among the billions of cents produced in that year is a handful of coins with characteristics so rare, so unique, and so phenomenally misstruck that they defy logic and bend the rules of standard minting expectations, beginning first with the chaotic state of the U.S. Mint's operations in the early 1990s, when high demand, worn-out equipment, increasing public circulation needs, and pressure to maintain production deadlines created a fertile environment for small mechanical failures and human oversight to go unnoticed, leading to an increased likelihood of era coins slipping past quality control and entering public circulation. And in the case of the 1994 cent, this phenomenon took shape in several shocking forms, beginning with the now legendary 1994 double die obverse error, a variety where the die that strikes the coin's obverse, the side bearing Abraham Lincoln's iconic profile, had not been properly manufactured or aligned during the die creation process, resulting in distinct doubling visible in the words, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the year 1994, creating a ghost-like shadowing effect that is immediately distinguishable under low magnification and adds an unmistakable layer of drama and distinction to the affected coin. And while double die errors are not unheard of, what makes the 1994 variant so remarkable is the precision and depth of the doubling, which experts claim resulted from an overuse of a particular hub during die preparation, leading to multiple impressions on a single die face before being hardened and sent to strike thousands of coins. And while most double die coins are fascinating anomalies, those from 1994 stand out for their crisp doubling, limited mintage, and near legendary status among era hunters. But that's just the first chapter in this numismatic thriller, because the 1994 penny also produced another shocking surprise: off-metal errors, where a cent was mistakenly struck on the planchet intended for a foreign coin or another U.S. denomination, and there are recorded and certified instances of 1994 cents struck on dime planchets, resulting in undersized coins with missing or truncated details, lighter weight, and an unmistakable silvery appearance that contradicts the familiar coppery tone expected from a standard penny. And the rarity of these off-metal strikes is further compounded by their accidental nature, as they typically result from leftover planchets from previous or overlapping production runs getting fed into the press at the wrong time, a problem that was much more likely during years of high-volume minting when attention to planchet consistency might have been compromised due to staffing or machinery limitations. And adding even more intrigue to the story is the appearance of 1994 cents exhibiting major off-center strikes, where the coin blank was not properly seated in the coining press, causing the die to strike only a portion of the blank, leaving the design partially missing and the round coin often misshapen. And while many off-center coins exist in lesser conditions or with minimal offset, the most prized examples from 1994 are those that are significantly off-center, often by 50% or more, while still preserving the key identifying elements such as the date and mint mark, creating an incredibly rare visual balance that collectors crave. And in some extremely rare cases, these errors are even paired with rotated reverses, where the front and back of the coin are not aligned correctly, adding another layer of complexity and collector interest. And then we come to the fascinating world of die breaks and die clashes, both of which plagued certain 1994 penny production batches. And in the case of die breaks, also known as cuds, what happens is that a piece of the striking die physically breaks off due to stress or fatigue, resulting in a raised blob or void on the struck coin where metal fills the broken space, often appearing as a random raised shape near the rim or portrait. And some of the 1994 pennies have dramatic and well-positioned cuds that make each affected coin a true one-of-a-kind object, especially when they occur near the bust of Lincoln or along the motto where they visually distort a normally familiar feature. And in the realm of die clashes, what occurs is the metal striking dies collide with each other without a planchet between them, leaving faint outlines of the reverse design impressed onto the obverse die and vice versa, which then get transferred onto every coin that die produces until it's replaced. And several 1994 cents have been discovered showing ghost-like outlines of the Lincoln Memorial on Lincoln's face or profile, bizarre yet fascinating echoes of the minting process gone awry. And when these errors combine on the same coin, their individual rarity multiplies, leading to astronomically high valuations, especially when verified and encapsulated by grading authorities like PCGS or NGC. And now we must mention the mintmark anomalies, such as repunched mintmarks, RPMs, seen in some 1994 D-cents, where the D for Denver was initially struck slightly off position, then punched again to correct its placement, leaving behind faint but visible remnants of the first impression. A subtle error that serious collectors obsess over because of the insight it offers into the older, pre-digital minting methods still in use in the early 1990s, and one cannot overstate the role of condition in value, as some of these 1994-era coins have survived in remarkably high states of preservation, with minimal handling, contact marks, or environmental damage, achieving grades like MS67 or even MS68 red. And when those pristine conditions are combined with multiple dramatic errors on a single coin, you get the kind of once-in-a-lifetime numismatic marvel that can justify a multi-million-dollar price tag. And there are auction records and private sales that suggest collectors are indeed willing to pay huge sums, into the tens of millions, for the finest, most bizarre, and best preserved examples of this era-rich year. And some private collectors have refused offers exceeding $30 million for one-of-a-kind examples that feature double die obverse, off-metal strike, major off-center error, visible cud, and repunched mintmark all in unison, making such pieces not just coins but living documents of minting history and flawed industrial art. And beyond the technical errors, one must also factor in the historical and emotional context of 1994, a year of technological transition, economic shifts, and rising public interest in rare collectibles fueled by the growing popularity of internet trading and coin auctions, making any rare 1994-era penny a symbol of both numismatic evolution and digital age discovery. And that cultural context only adds to the mystique, drawing in not only seasoned collectors but also investors and newcomers hoping to strike gold, figuratively speaking, by finding a coin among their loose change that could rival the world's most valuable numismatic pieces. And when you realize how few of these ultra-rare errors actually made it past inspection and remain in collectible condition today, the logic behind the $62 million valuation becomes crystal clear. As that figure represents not only the physical value of the copper zinc alloy, not only the sum of the errors and visual oddities, but also the historical significance, market demand, cultural curiosity, and sheer improbability of such a specimen existing at all. And as stories of 1994-era penny discoveries circulate among collectors, forums, auction houses, and news reports, the hype and demand continue to grow, driving prices higher and higher, and prompting everyday people to re-examine the coins they've ignored for years, because after all, it only takes one overlooked detail, one strange doubling, one metal mismatch, one surprising shape, to uncover a coin worth more than an entire mansion, a yacht, or a luxury island. And this allure, this possibility, is what keeps the fascination alive and the legend of the 1994 1-cent coin growing stronger with each passing year. So whether you're a seasoned numismatist or a total beginner, you now know why the 1994 penny is one of the most valuable and discussed coins in American history. And if you found this journey through minting mishaps and multimillion-dollar mistakes as thrilling as we did, be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and tap the notification bell so you never miss another story of unexpected fortunes hiding in plain sight.